Hello Year 10. In today's lesson you're going to be looking at the ways in which Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party gained support in the early 1930s. Before you complete the lesson, you need to complete the knowledge quiz using the Google form attached. Pause the video and complete that now. Between 1928 and 1929, there was a dramatic rise in support for the Nazi Party. This was partly because of the impact of the Depression, which you studied in last lesson. This made people unhappy with the parties that had set up and helped govern the Weimar Republic. However, the rise in the popularity of the Nazi Party was also a result of many other reasons. So as I said, one of the reasons why people supported the Nazi Party was that they had a lack of trust for the politicians of the Weimar government. They felt that they were not doing all they could to improve conditions within Germany. Much of this was connected to the Wall Street crash, which had caused a number of problems you looked at in last lesson. Many people were scared by the threat of the Communist Party posed to the country. They thought the communists could overthrow the government just as they had done in Russia. There was also the appeal of Adolf Hitler. He was a very charismatic speaker, and people felt connected to him when he gave his speeches. As you know, people were also unhappy about the Treaty of Versailles. They thought the Allies had punished Germany and wanted to overturn its rules. The Nazis also had the benefit of the SA, which was the military part of the party who used intimidation and fear to scare people into supporting them. Also, there was high unemployment in Germany as people didn't have jobs. They were desperate to find a solution to their problems. Finally, there was the beliefs and ideas of the Nazis. People were attracted to the idea of a strong single leader and putting an end to democracy. Okay, now that you've had my brief introduction to the growth of the Nazi Party, you need to read the information that I have written for you. Once you have read this, you need to complete the first table on the task document. For each factor, you need to briefly explain how it led to an increase in support for the Nazi Party in the years 1929 to 1932. This needs to be a short, simple statement of about 2 sentences that summarises the information that you have read. You must complete every row of the table. Pause the video and complete that now. Using the factors from the table above, complete the Diamond 9 to show the extent to which different factors increased support for the Nazi Party between 1929 and 1932. Place the factor you believe attracted the most support at the top with the least at the bottom. You should make a judgment on how the others fit in between. For example, if you think the appeal of Adolf Hitler was the most important reason for the growth of the Nazi Party, then it would go in this box at the top. You would then think about maybe your least important being the beliefs of the Nazis, and you would put this at the bottom. And then you would decide on how the rest would fit into the table in between. So pause the video and complete that now. Okay, now that you've completed the Diamond 9, you just need to explain why you selected the factor at the top and bottom. So you do one explanation for your reason at the top and one explanation for your reason at the bottom. Make sure in your explanation that you use specific examples and write about a paragraph for each one. And remember that when we say a paragraph, that's roughly 6 sentences. So pause the video and complete that now. Okay, the next stage of today's lesson, you're going to be looking at some interpretations questions. These questions are ones that could potentially come up in your exam, and this approach is one that you're going to definitely need to use in your exam. So, the first thing you are looking for is the question focus. Question 1 tells you the former topic. In this case, why the Nazi Party appealed to the people of Germany. And you can see I put that in bold and underlined it here. All the questions will have a focus topic, and for these 3 questions that we're looking at today, it will be the same. So every single question is focused on why the Nazi Party appealed to the people of Germany. So you need to keep that idea in your mind. So as you read through, you should be thinking, what does it tell me about the appeal of the Nazi Party? What reasons are the interpretations giving as to why people were attracted to this political party? Okay, so once you have decided on the focus of the question, the next step is to read through each interpretation and highlight any important phrases. So in the first one, the important parts are where it says, "He speaks for me," "He knows how I feel," and "He understands." This is because it shows us that people thought Hitler understood what they wanted and needed. For interpretation B, it says, "The sight of discipline in a time of chaos," and "the impression of energy." This tells us that this lady supported the Nazis due to the appearance of the SA, that they were going to be in control and well ordered. So once you have looked at this information within inside the box, you then need to think about the section outside the box, which tells you who and when the source was written. So for this, you need to underline when the source was produced and information about the background and belief of the author. For interpretation 1, it was written in 1943, during the war. The background is that she visited Germany on a regular basis, and the belief is that she wasn't a Nazi, but wanted to understand why people were attracted and voted for the Nazis. For interpretation B, it was written in 1970s, but by a key member of the Nazi leadership, so we can see he was Nazi Minister for Weapons. And he's explaining why his mother joined the Nazis. So this information is going to be really useful to you when you're thinking about how these interpretations differ. So let's have a look at the different questions then. So for question 1, you need to focus on the information inside the box, as it is asking you how they differ. You should explain what the message of each one is using the sentence starters and information highlighted for you. For question 2, you need to focus on the information outside of the box, as it's asking you why they differ. You should explain who wrote the interpretation and why they had that view of events. Now for the third question, it's asking you which you find more convincing. So which one do you think matches your knowledge best? So for this, you're going to write one paragraph where you explain why interpretation A is convincing, using your own specific and detailed knowledge. Then you're going to write a second paragraph explaining why interpretation B is convincing, again, using your specific and detailed knowledge. We must remember that when we're thinking about convincing, you're trying to think about what makes it true, what makes it accurate about the history that happened. Finally, you go write a third paragraph where you make your judgment, where you make a decision on which one you find more convincing. So which one do you think best describes the actual events that happened, which one best matches your own knowledge. Now remember, for that, there is no right or wrong answer, it's entirely your opinion and your judgment. So you've got an opportunity to go and answer these questions now. So you're going to go answer these 3 on the Google document underneath the interpretations. Question 1 and 2 should take you about 5 minutes each, and question 3 should take you about 10. So that's 20 minutes in total for these 3 questions. Because you've got quite a few exam questions, there's no exit quiz today. So once you've finished that, this is the lesson completed. Good luck, Year 10.